Are you thirsty yet? Well, go grab a drink. I'll wait. I got all the refreshments I need right here. I've got my shotgun shells, my grappling hooks, my grenades, rockets, you name it. If it fits in the world of Doom, I'll have some. Yeah, that's right. Killing demons by the score is refreshing to me. So much so that upon completing Doom Eternal, I can say without question it's my game of the year. I know I'm late to the party. The game did come out back in March, but I got around to it, and I'm oh so glad that I did. So yeah, go buy it, go play it, and I'll see you later. Kidding. At this point, you should know that I like to ramble, so that's just what I'm going to do today. Let's talk about what makes Doom Eternal such a refreshing game in today's gaming landscape. Right off the bat, I appreciate that you can beat the game. Many of the early arcade and home console games focused on high scores or two-player competition, and they successfully brought in the first generation of gamers. But some of the most influential games of all time are the ones that introduced a narrative end to the gameplay experience. Along with these narrative ends came final stages or perhaps boss fights. Think the original Donkey Kong. On the surface, it might seem like there's nothing particularly groundbreaking in this game, but it was actually the first time that players took part in a distinct narrative journey. Both Mario, first introduced in this game as Jumpman, and Donkey Kong each had personalities and some characteristics. In his book, Power Up: How Japanese Video Games Gave the World an Extra Life, Chris Kohler quotes Shigeru Miyamoto when discussing Mario's characteristics. Mario is neither handsome nor heroic, someone anyone could relate to. A short, indomitable, mustached man in a red cap, a kind of everyman who rises to heroism in the face of adversity, and whose insignificance makes him so appealing. What's amazing about this is that players recognize these traits merely by the way in which the game was presented to them. Each interstitial stage ended with a quick yet seamless cutscene that eventually climaxes with Donkey Kong being thrown from his lofty perch and the player coming out victorious. Even with the rudimentary gameplay and storytelling capabilities that Nintendo was limited to back in the day, Donkey Kong managed to pull off something spectacular. It ignited a more personal connection between players and the game, not only by introducing memorable characters, but also by allowing them to finally say the words, "I beat the game." As much as the never-ending barrage of live service games would have you believe, this is still an incredibly powerful moment in a gamer's mind. Crossing that tangible finish line and knowing that you bested what the game had to offer, or at least seeing the game through to its end. It's a rewarding feeling. But lots of games have definitive narrative ends, like Ghost of Tsushima, which I also really liked. So why do I hold Doom Eternal in particular above other games that you can beat? Well, Doom Eternal actually has demarcated levels. It's not just some vast open world with the freedom to go anywhere. You load up the level, slaughter the demons, maybe do a little exploring, but eventually you'll be done. And once you're done, it doesn't immediately put you in another matchmaking lobby or remind you that you have 10 NPCs still needing your help. I found it to be something of an unfamiliar feeling being able to put my controller down and know that when I pick it back up, I will know exactly when I will put it back down, at the end of the next level. Little side note, Doom Eternal does actually constitute as a live service game because it has new obtainable cosmetic items added to it periodically. However, these items and challenges to acquire them are far from what makes this game special, and I feel comfortable with saying that Doom Eternal stands apart from the more apparent games in this category, like the new Marvel's Avengers. Also, I'm fully aware that games with distinct levels haven't gone anywhere. I just haven't been playing them, so I'm not trying to make this out to be some revelatory video about a hidden gem of a game. I'll touch more on this later, but it comes down to this. I get stuck playing the same game for weeks or months on end, and I think for me personally, that is detrimental to my enjoyment of games. So when I actually do take that leap into the unknown of a new game, it truly does feel like a breath of fresh air. Hence the reason for this video. While on the topic of completing levels, tell me this doesn't bring some sort of satisfaction to you. Even if you aren't a gamer, your brain likes things to be neat, organized, tidied up, whatever you want to call it. So at the end of a Doom Eternal level, if you spent the time doing the optional exploration and combat encounters, you get the satisfaction of watching these progress bars fill up and hear their accompanying punchy sound effects. Plus, doing these optional activities reward you with resources that can be spent on upgrading your character and weapons. It's pretty much the game's way of telling you, good job. And I don't mind getting a little pat on the back every now and then, even if it's coming from a video game. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but this video isn't about my mental health, so let's just put a pin in that one for now. Post-level menus are nothing new in games either. Tons of games will break down and track your performance on a per-level basis. Take Velocity 2X, the phenomenal twin-stick shooter that's a modern, lightning-fast take on early arcade shoot-'em-ups. Just like with Doom, many of the mission's goals are optional. You are of course able to complete the game by just reaching each level's finish line, but if you want to get the most out of the game, you'll consider going for that 100% completion mark on each level. This means you'll be completing tasks such as blowing up every enemy ship, grabbing all the crystals, and rescuing all friendly ships. Oh yeah, and you have to do this under a certain amount of time. It's not easy, but it's absolutely the best way to play the game. Pushing yourself to the absolute limit of your ability, striving for that 100% mark. But of course, that's just my opinion. You're free to play the game in whichever way you so choose. That being said, the time trials and other optional goals in Velocity 2X were implemented because the developers knew that achieving these things would bring the player much more satisfaction than just outright completing each level. In essence, this is how the developers added layers of difficulty to the game without having explicit difficulty settings. Doom Eternal, like I showed, has many of its own optional objectives. However, it also has difficulty settings. These settings don't alter any of the in-game objectives, it just makes your life a whole lot more stressful. Therefore, you're still able to get all the collectibles, engage in the optional combat encounters, and fully upgrade your character. But, and this is a big but, the higher difficulty you play on, the more gratifying your experience will be when you see those post-level progress bars fill up. Doom Eternal is demonstrably more difficult than its predecessor, Doom 2016, so it should be pretty clear that this is how the developers intended for players to experience the game. That's actually one of the ever-present conundrums of game design. How do developers best ensure that players experience their directed vision without having the player feel like they're being forced into a particular gameplay style? Here's Doom Eternal's director, Hugo Martin, on the podcast Game Maker's Notebook discussing how the development team approached this issue.
Like, if they don't do what we want them to do, we kill them, or we hurt them, or we limit their movement, and so they ooh, that didn't feel good. Let me go back to doing, and then by doing that, they end up searching for, blood punch, diving into the smaller parts of the kill equation to get the desired result that we're after. And the bet is, if you play this way, you will have fun and you will love Doom.
While some design choices, like ammo scarcity and constantly changing weapons to attack specific enemies, allowed for tedium to take the place of fun at times, id Software managed to create an addictive and satisfying combat loop. And as if that wasn't exciting enough, Martin said at the end of the Game Maker's Notebook episode that they have yet to create their best Doom game. I can't wait to see what they have in store for the next one. Now this brings me back to that little sidetrack I took earlier, where I mentioned that sometimes I get stuck playing the same game for months on end. I'm very much a creature of habit when it comes to playing games, specifically online shooters. I mean, they're fun, plain and simple, that's why I play them. They're easy too, not in the sense that I'm really good, far from it. I'm actually pretty average, but the amount of time it takes from when a friend asks if I want to play to actually getting in a game and shooting people is quicker than it takes for me to get through my morning constitutional. Basically, what I'm saying is that the barrier to entry, time-wise, is essentially non-existent, and that's a really nice convenience, especially if I don't have much time to play. Next thing I know though, I haven't started a new game in a few weeks, or even months, because I've convinced myself that I only have time for a few quick matches, or the thought of learning a new set of rules for another game just seems like too much of a mental drain. Which is annoying on a few levels, because while I was playing those online shooters, I could feel the monotony taking its toll on my enjoyment of games in general. You see, the more varied my gaming choices are, the more fun I have. Also, I miss out on many of each year's best offerings, so I'm always a little behind on experiencing the latest that the industry has to offer. This problem that I have is most certainly attributed to some of my shortcomings as a gamer. However, some of the blame can actually be put on the games themselves. With each passing year, the ability for live service games to capture a greater percentage of consumers' mindshare increases. I truly believe there is something pernicious about the way these games consume their player base's time. I understand that people are going to play what they want to play. I'm actually a big advocate for that. However, the way that games like Fortnite, Call of Duty, and many others operate is under the simple premise of timed exclusivity. You want that new skin, gun, emote, whatever? Well, get it while you can, because unless you cough up the money right now to buy it, or spend hours upon hours of your free time in the next few weeks grinding away, you're gonna miss it. And oh yeah, all the kids at school are doing the same thing. You don't want to feel left out, do you? That being said, some of the items nowadays can be obtained for free, so that's nice. But that isn't out of the kindness of these companies' hearts. You see, the longer you spend with a game, grinding for that new camo, the more likely you are to eventually spend real money in the game on some other item. Don't get me wrong, I completely understand why companies like Activision and EA implement these sorts of monetization tactics, but they are devoid of any care for the medium of video games itself. That might seem dramatic, but just look at how some of the most beloved IPs and studios have fared once these practices started showing up. Generally speaking, things are more consumer-friendly than they have been in recent past, with free-to-play models increasing and pay-to-win models decreasing in frequency, respectively. But I do believe that if one of these companies could get their player base to pledge an oath of fealty to them and swear to never play another game, they would do it without hesitation. I'm not here to say that the way Doom does it is the right way, or that games used to be better back in the day, because hands down we live in the best era of gaming. It's got a lot of problems, that's for sure, but all in all, it's a great time to be a gamer. I guess the whole reason why I made this video is because Doom Eternal was something of a cathartic experience for me. It made me realize I need to branch out my choices of games more frequently in order to garner the enjoyment that I know I can experience with games. Also, hopefully my words have been inspiring enough for you to take a chance on that title you might otherwise overlook. Thanks for watching. It has been a while, hasn't it? I think it's been over a month at this point, so sorry to keep you waiting. I know you were all very anxious for my next one, all 30 of you. But yeah, I'm back. I got a lot more videos on the way, so keep your eyes out for them. I also made a Twitter and an Instagram for my channel. If you're interested, go ahead and give those a follow. They will be on the screen right now, as well as in the description. I'll probably just be posting more bite-sized takes and game recommendations and whatnot on those. So yeah, definitely check those out if you're interested. And other than that, you know what to do. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. If you liked it, hit the like button. Drop a comment if you got something to say. And I'll catch you guys next time.